The idiotic and insightful investigations of Detective Ebenezer Maisonette. The Case of the Ticking Hour. Written by Jamie A. Marsh. Read by Jacob Renouf. Varney, it's so good to hear from you. Of course, it's me, the amazing Detective Ebenezer Maisonette. So, you want me to help contribute a case to these stories of yours. There are just so many amazing tales I could tell you. Murmurs at the Moonlit Alley, The Silver-Eyed Stranger, Case of the Poisoned Portrait. It's so hard to pick one, but I think I will settle on one that I know you've already enjoyed. I will start my story in more recent times. You and I were at our residence on Tennant Street, and you came home after a long working evening at the Raven House Club. You seemed to be in a particularly foul mood. The first thing that you did was unfairly complain about me. "Is this tea again?" you said as you picked up my teapot. "How much have you had?" "I recommend a 4-teapot dosage if you really want to ease the burdens of one's mind." "You're more likely to damage your mind," you whined. "I'm bored, Varney. I need something to stimulate me, and caffeine fulfills that hole." I've always found myself drinking a higher amounts of caffeine between cases, but according to you, I shouldn't do, and you always complained at me. "If you want excitement, why don't you tell me about one of your old cases?" you suggested. I liked the idea of this immediately, and jumped up to my collection of journals on the shelf. "Have you ever wondered why we can never get a cab to stop for us in London?" I asked. "Now that you mention it, I have wondered that." "Well, this would be a tale for you. I call it The Case of the Ticking Hour. This was quite a few years ago now, long before I met you. Larry wasn't even an officer. I found myself at Scotland Yard, seeing if they had any ongoing investigations, something I could jump onto. I say I found myself there. I did have to break in. I was able to stay quiet as I stealthily listened in on the gathering inspectors. "Sorry, lads, this is a very serious matter. Lord Hawkins' daughter has been kidnapped, and he has received a ransom note this morning asking for £10,000 for her safe return. He has sensibly brought the matter to our attention, but before paying the criminals any money, the note came with this package." The inspector held up a box to them with a handwritten note attached to the top. I listened carefully, trying to block out the other sounds in the station. I knew something was amiss. I knew I could hear a faint sound. The sound of ticking. Tick, tick, tick. But where was it coming from? Then I made the connection. The box. I jumped forward and grabbed the box from the inspector's hands. "Who are you?" he screamed in surprise. "It's Detective Ebenezer Maisonette," cried one of the younger constables. I was so proud of him to recognise my genius, but I was in that moment of focus. I had a package that contained a ticket. That could only mean one thing: a bomb. And only I had the intellect to defuse it. "Everyone, stand back. We have a bomb, but there is no need to worry," I said. "That's not a bomb," said the inspector. I was confused. "Lord Hawkins has opened it this afternoon." I opened the box, and inside was a pocket watch. I took it out and examined it. Simple watch, nothing of note about it. It shows signs of fading from a window, so would have been displayed for a while in a shop, maybe. This just meant that whoever sent the message bought the watch for this purpose. "Could someone get this man out of here?" asked the inspector. I was less known at the station back then. My tremendous reputation hadn't been built. Rome wasn't built in a day. "Wait," I cried, before some of the officers could drag me from the building. "I am very clever and very helpful." "If you're so clever," stated the inspector, "why don't you solve the riddle that was left on the ransom note?" He shoved the note from the box into my chest. It read, "Tick, tick, goes the hours. Now that they are done, What ends but also starts? A new day begun? I thought about this riddle for a moment. Compared to this room of officers, I had an education behind me. Then it struck me. Midnight! It means midnight, said I. The inspector snatched it back off me and read it for himself. By Jove! He's right. It's 8 o'clock now, so that means we still have 4 hours to find him before anything happens to his daughter. 2 hours, said I. He stopped and squared up to me. I thought you was intelligent, but you can't work out the time. Dear me, he chuckled. The watch is 2 hours fast. It's been deliberately said that way. So it's 8 o'clock to us, but the watch makes it 10 o'clock, meaning we have 2 hours to find her. The blood dropped from his face before me. The worry set in. The panic of the situation dawned on him in that moment. Let me assist you, I simply said, and he just nodded in agreement, lost for words. I was able to convince him, after a bit of debate about the amount of time we had to waste, to let me go to the scene of the kidnapping with the stopwatch. I took a police carriage for the haste of the matter. Arriving at Westminster, I could see that it was a large townhouse with a view of the new Parliament Place, with its striking clock tower. I was shown straight in by their butler. He was a younger man than normal for his profession, charming and polite. He wore gloves, but the house felt fairly warm. After I explained that I was with the police and greeted by Lord Hawkins, he was a tall, skinny fellow who I'm sure would normally stand tall and proud, but at this moment was more hunched from fits of worry about his daughter. Detective, I'm so happy you've come. I'm in such a worry about my daughter. I've been thinking, wouldn't it be best just to give them the money? I have it here ready. As he spoke to me, he swung a painting from the wall and revealed a safe. You must stay strong, man, I reassured him. We can't give up. I'm the man that will return your daughter safely back to you. He nodded shyly. Very good. Henry, would you close the safe for me? The butler proceeded to follow his orders, and I was shown out of the room, back into the corridor. Pray, tell me what happened that night, but do it quickly. Time is of the essence. I checked the watch. It now read 10:27. The debate at the station cost us valuable minutes. I last saw Alice getting a glass of water to take with her to bed. That was at the stairwell here. He had taken us to the entrance hall as he spoke. I was in my study with the door open. I made sure to check the field of view from the office to the bottom of the stairs. Everything was making sense so far. So, she went up the stairs, I asked whilst climbing up them. We reached her room and Lord Hawkins opened the door for us. She was in her room when they must have taken her. I fell asleep in my study. Sorry. His voice broke as he spoke from holding back tears, and he left me alone with Henry, the butler, who just stood there and watched me walk around in silence. There were the footprints of just one man's shoes. So, it was just one man who was able to take her. No signs indicated a struggle. The room overall was still untouched. A small pile of tobacco from a pipe in the fireplace. I took a mental note of the smell and shade of it, and continued with my analysis. In her dresser I found some letters. They were addressed to Alice, but contained some relatively saucy content. Do you know who these are from? I asked Henry. He jumped over and took them from me, immediately placing them in his pocket. They must be from her fiancé, so they are to be kept private. Bit touchy, I thought. Anyway, going back to the deductions, I saw that the glass in the window was broken. There was no glass on the windowsill, only a drop of blood. As I examined the shattered patterns, I noticed a set of tracks on the street outside. I rushed out of the house to examine the tracks left by the cars. Not our own police cars. These were wider, and the horseshoe shape seemed familiar to me. I had to think quickly. Time was escaping us now. Lord Hawkins joined me now in the doorway. "Have you found something, Detective?" he asked hopefully. "These tracks are made by a cab, I'm sure of it. Whatever way she left in a cab." I started to leave. "Where are you going?" he shouted after me. "To find a cab." So I started my search of London town. One of these busy cabs in the blackness of the night was responsible for this kidnapping, and I was going to find out which one it was. I called over to one. "Where are you headed?" said the coachman. I jumped up quickly and gave him a sniff. He was wearing gloves, so I quickly took one off to check his hand. He was completely shocked by my sudden handling of him. I jumped off the other side and called another one. I repeated this process for a few carriages, but no luck, each coachman getting more and more angry with me for my haste in determining their involvement. I had to think of a new strategy of finding our culprit. "Cab!" I called out, and another came to a halt before me. "How can I help you this evening, sir?" asked he. "Do you know any of the coachmen in this area this evening who smokes a pipe?" "Well, yes, sir, I do. Many of us do." I checked the pocket watch. It now read 11:11. Midnight was soon approaching, so I had to return to my original plan of action. I stopped another cab, and I think I remember slapping this one. I can't fully remember in all the panic of the moment. Cab after cab, but I got no further in my search. But then matters got even worse. Word had gotten around to the coachman to not stop for a man matching my description in case I was to abuse them for their information. That was the nail in the coffin. The watch ticked to midnight and the game was over. I returned to Lord Hawkins' address by foot to deliver the bad news. "Let me in, kind sir," I announced on the doorstep, and entered their living room, where I found Lord Hawkins in a right state of bother, and a younger man, more forceful and kept together. He greeted my return first. The butler didn't seem to be around. "Have you found her?" he asked. Well, unfortunately, I was interrupted by the sudden cries of the father. I told you! Now my daughter's blood is on your hands." "Who am I to marry now?" exclaimed the other man. "Show this disgrace of a detective out of my house, Peterson." I was shown into the corridor when I asked, "What happened to your butler, the young chap?" "He left in quite a rush. It's a bit strange, really. He's around the house a lot. Anyway, you heard him. Time for you to leave." I stopped at the door. Thoughts about the case were coming to me. Did the butler have a packed bag with him when he left? Yes, he did. Now off you go. And with that, I left knowing that I had solved the case. Farley, you then sat there staring at me in mainly confusion, but also a little irritation. "So, you did solve it?" you asked. "Yes, but I never told Lord Hawkins. That was only fair to his daughter." "I thought she was dead. You failed to save her." My, Farley, I wouldn't be telling you this tale if I'd failed. Let me explain. Everything was fully confirmed to me when the paper the next day reported the theft of the money from Lord Hawkins, the very same money that he had shown me that night. This could only mean it was his daughter and his butler, Henry. Once I visited the house and convinced Lord Hawkins not to pay the ransom, Henry had to take his own actions to get the money they wanted to use to run away. That was the whole point. Lord Hawkins' daughter is in love with Henry, not her fiancé. The scandal would have dishonoured their family name, and he would never have approved of such a marriage. The only way she could think to get away was by faking her own kidnapping and being pronounced dead or missing, with the ransom money to start a new life. It was a perfect plan. It all came together in my head when I remembered the lack of struggle in the bedroom, the smashed window that could only have been made from the inside, and the singular set of footprints and those love letters. The poor butler was so quick to take them away that they must have been from him. That plus the gloves he was wearing from the cuts he must have sustained from smashing the window. It all fits perfectly together. I grin in satisfaction. As you yawned, your wearied eyes heavy with exhaustion, I shot you a glance without the slightest trace of sympathy. Really, Varley, I said coldly, perhaps you'd be better off in bed rather than feigning interest in matters well beyond your grasp. You gave me a tired look before retreating to your rooms, but I remained seated, the case solved, yet my mind already fixated on the next challenge. For in this line of work, sleep is a luxury, and I, quite frankly, has no use for it. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to help bring Detective Ebenezer Maisonette's next on-screen adventure to life, please check out our GoFundMe for the upcoming short film featuring him. And if you want to explore even more of his world, the book version is now available on Kindle and Amazon. Thanks again for being with us. We can't wait to share more soon.